Hey, Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit, and Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachaha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. All right, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. All right. So I want to do a lesson building on this video right here. All right. In which case it goes into the mindset that we're seeing. We're seeing the people beginning to develop in these last days as the end of this empire is coming to is coming to fruition, you know what I'm saying? And the people are becoming squeezed. All right. The inevitable is only going to happen. Okay? The inevitable is going to happen. This is why you see the military trucks, the military presence everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Again, I say this all the time, has nothing to do with crime rates. It has nothing to do with the crimes. You see what I'm saying? Nothing to do with the crimes. That's the scapegoat. All right? That's the red herring, if you will. What these Edomites are doing is they're preparing. They're preparing for the collapse that's about to unfold very, very soon. All right. And we've been seeing small little pockets of this insurrection, all right, taking place. And now it's only going to escalate. It's only going to increase. All right. As the people, you know what I'm saying, realize that they've been screwed over. You know what I'm saying? Which I said was going to happen, all right, and which begin with the apostles, bishops, and elders on down, all right. You was warned that these people are going to start to lose their shit after they realize that their knight in shining armor, you know what I'm saying, their Messiah, if you will, was not going to make their lives better or make America great again in their in their way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? The farmers are losing everything. All right? Small businesses are losing everything. Things are falling apart and crumbling right before their eyes. Okay? So we're about to see the end of Esau's rulership. And that comes with a massive shift in society. You know what I'm saying? A major breakaway, shall I say, a major breaking point. All right? It's going to take place. So let me see. Let me turn these notifications off real quick. Boom. And let's get this video started.
You remember the adjuster, Luigi Mangione? Took out that, maybe or maybe not, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. I don't know. He took out that United Healthcare CEO, and then now we've got this guy that wanders into a skyscraper in Manhattan. And the news wants you to think he went to the NFL. No, dude. He went directly to the 33rd floor where Blackstone's real estate CEO was and took her out. Then we've got this politician somewhere. I'm only learning about this just now, where somebody busted into his office and covered him in gasoline and lit him on fire. Turns out this guy did something with these apartment complexes, sold them off to some corporation to where everybody's rent's going to get jacked up. They're going to get evicted. These are all common. These were adjustments. These are all adjusters. There's no the adjuster. Anyone is potentially an adjuster out to make deny a claim on somebody's success that's built on destroying lives. This is where we've made it in this country. When people talk about late stage capitalism and y'all dive into my comments and talk about, oh, that's a myth, and no, this is what it is. We are coming to the end of the game of Monopoly. In that game, you played it growing up, it only ends one of two ways. Either you play all the way through and one person ends up owning everything and everyone else has nothing. That's the point to the game. The original point when that game Monopoly was made was to prove that even the winner loses. Because when you own all of the money and all of the hotels and all of the houses and all of the railroads, everyone else in the game has no money to buy your house, to rent your hotel, to travel on your railroad. That's the point. Or, as it gets close to that end point, someone inevitably flips out and flips the table. And that's what these adjustments are. These are individuals who are at their wits' end. They've been driven to a precipice where they are forced to either let the end of the game just happen to them or flip the fucking table and make sure everybody loses with them. Mainly the current winners. That's what's going on here. These aren't unrelated. These aren't accidents. But they're also not some, coordinated plot. This is the state of mind of the American people right now. You're going to have to fact check this stat. Fucking, you look it up. But I've been hearing a lot over the last couple of years that something like 80% of Americans are one $400 emergency away from bankruptcy. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Meanwhile, we've got the Bezoses of the world and the Elon Musks. And look, I'm not hating the players. I'm hating the game, okay? Look, let's all be honest here. If we had stumbled into a situation where we had kabillions of dollars and we could buy half of a Hawaiian island to build bunkers and shit like that, we would. Because we'd be looking after ourselves and our own. But it shouldn't be that. I mean, Elon I was talking about, they're projecting by 2030 he's going to be the first trillionaire. I think a lot of you don't have an appreciation for how much money $1 trillion is. I think a lot of you don't have a lot of respect for how much a billion is. A billion's 1,000 million. 1 million seems to be the cap where our brains, we can get there. $1 million, that's a almost unimaginable number to have just piled up in front of you, but our brains can get there. Hell, these days that's 2 houses, we can do that. But then $1 billion is 1,000 of that. $1 trillion is $1 million. That first number, $1 million on the table in front of you, where your brain's like, oh, I mean, that's rich. That's rich shit. That's so much money. $1 million of that pile of money is $1 trillion. Something's got to change. Something has to change. And I'm starting to think that these aren't going to be weird one-offs anymore. And don't let the news tell you that the fucking politician that got doused with gasoline and lit on fire, they're like, oh, it was a personal beef. But none of them say what that beef was, what their affiliation was. All we know about the guy is this shady fucking real estate deal he had with the corporation so far. Don't let them tell you that some kid that happened to play high school football went to where some NFL offices were in New York. Those things don't have a whole lot to do with each other. I get that there was a football held at one time, but that doesn't equal beef with the NFL. And some note scrawled on the back of a fucking water bill or whatever the fuck that thing was. This is, oh, frickin' check my brain, CTE. Come on. Dude was sharply dressed, nice gun, with a fucking strut, went straight to the 33rd floor, Blackstone fucking real estate headquarters. They're the largest single family household owner in the country, specifically in Las Vegas, where this dude came from to execute this crime. They're adjustments. These are adjusters.
That's right. That's a good point. Now, when you take into consideration, you know what I'm saying, we believe much of these things are staged, you know what I'm saying, with the way that they're done, you know what I'm saying. This guy goes up to the 33rd floor, you know what I'm saying, which the 33rd floor, the number 33 happens to be the highest number amongst Freemasonry. All right. And you have all these different Manchurian candidate type niggas that go out there, you know what I'm saying? They do this, they do that. And all right, that dude Luigi looks nothing like the person that was actually in the footage. Okay. Look completely different. But this guy Luigi is put in your face. So yeah, we believe that much of this stuff, if not all of it, was staged. But nevertheless, the point is still being made. All right, the point still stands. A civil war is coming. You see what I'm saying? The inevitable collapse is going to happen because of this monetary system, this monopoly. All right, monopoly on crops, monopoly on gas, monopoly on health. You see what I'm saying? Monopoly on education. All these things are designed to fail. All right, by their very design, they're meant to be unsustainable. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. It reads, let me start at verse 1. It says, "He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck, all right, shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy." Okay? And so I would like to apply this to these Edomites at the upper echelon of power. All right, these Edomites who hold those trillions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? He's one, this guy's one of those many Americans who think they know something when they really know nothing. You know what I'm saying? They really know nothing. All right, these jokers put Elon Musk in your face. This is how you know that this man is not the richest man on the planet. You see what I'm saying? He is not the richest man on the planet. The reason why you know that is because you can see him. You see him on the news. You see him on these big forums where he's invited to, and he gets to show up in jeans and a little suit. You know what I'm saying? All right, and jump around and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not the richest man on the planet. You see what I'm saying? Let me put it this way. The youngest Rothschild is worth 10 times Elon Musk. I'm going to put it that way for you. The youngest Rothschild is worth 10 times what Elon Musk is worth. That should put some things into perspective. All right? If you can even hope to wrap your mind around if you can hope to wrap your mind around $1 trillion, try wrapping your mind around several $100 trillion. You see what I'm saying? That number is insurmountably gargantuan. All right? Insurmountably gargantuan. Let me read this in second verse. Proverbs 29 and 2 says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." You see what I'm saying? And this is fair use, you know what I'm saying? I'm not profiting off of any of this footage. All right, any of these videos, you see what I'm saying? So I want to show you one more thing. As I was listening to this guy talking, I was thinking about another video that I have. Let me show that to you. Bear with me.
Don't know me, but I am one of those 0.01 percenters that you hear about and read about, and I am by any reasonable definition a plutocrat. And tonight, what I would like to do is speak directly to other plutocrats, to my people, because it feels like it's time for us all to have a chat. Like most plutocrats, I too am a proud and unapologetic capitalist. I have founded, co-founded, or funded over 30 companies across a range of industries. I was the first non-family investor in Amazon.com. I co-founded a company called The Quantive that we sold to Microsoft for $6.4 billion. My friends and I, we own a bank. I tell you this, unbelievable, right? I tell you this to show that my life is like most plutocrats. I have a broad perspective on capitalism and business, and I've been rewarded obscenely for that with a life that most of y'all can't even imagine. Multiple homes, a yacht, my own plane, etc., etc., etc. But let's be honest, I am not the smartest person you've ever met. I am certainly not the hardest working. I was a mediocre student. I'm not technical at all. I can't write a word of code. Truly, my success is the consequence of spectacular luck, of birth, of circumstance, and of timing. But I am actually pretty good at a couple of things. One, I have an unusually high tolerance for risk. And the other is, I have a good sense, a good intuition about what will happen in the future. And I think that that intuition about the future is the essence of good entrepreneurship. So what do I see in our future today, you ask? I see pitchforks, as in angry mobs with pitchforks. Because people like us plutocrats, because while people like us plutocrats are living beyond the dreams of avarice, the other 99% of our fellow citizens are falling farther and farther behind. In 1980, the top 1% of Americans shared about 8% of national wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans shared 18%. 30 years later, today, the top 1% shares over 20% of national wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans share 12 or 13. If the trend continues, the top 1% will share over 30% of national wealth in another 30 years, while the bottom 50% of Americans will share just 6%. You see, the problem isn't that we have some inequality. Some inequality is necessary for a high-functioning capitalist democracy. The problem is that inequality is at historic highs today, and it's getting worse every day. And if wealth, power, and income continue to concentrate at the very tippy top, our society will change from a capitalist democracy to a neo-feudalist rentier society like 18th century France. That was, France before the revolution and the mobs with the pitchforks. So I have a message for my fellow plutocrats and zillionaires, and for anyone who lives in a gated bubble world. Wake up. Wake up. It cannot last. Because if we do not do something to fix the glaring economic inequities in our society, the pitchforks will come for us. For no free and open society can long sustain this kind of rising economic inequality. It has never happened. There are no examples. You show me a highly unequal society and I will show you a police state or an uprising. The pitchforks will come for us if we do not address this. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Notice what he just said. Notice what he just said. He said, in this trend, the way it is going, and this was more than 10 years ago, by the way. because I've had this video for quite some time. So in this trend, the inevitable outcome will be a police state or a revolution. And what we're about to see is a mixing of the two. We're already seeing the police state being formulated right in front of us, under the guise of policing immigrants, under the guise of policing crime. All right? They can't outright say what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? So they have to really tiptoe their way around this thing. Okay? But what we will see is the pitchforks. All right? And we're going to get these scriptures. But let's finish this video out.
And it will be terrible when they come for everyone, but particularly for people like us plutocrats. I know I must sound like some liberal do-gooder. I'm not. I'm not making a moral argument that economic inequality is wrong. What I'm arguing is that rising economic inequality is stupid and ultimately self-defeating. Rising inequality doesn't just increase our risks from pitchforks, but it's also terrible.
All right. So go back to him. Good points he made. And, you know, it's the only conclusion that you can come to when you see that the writing's on the wall. All right, as the words of where the words of Gerald Celente. All right, he says, when people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. All right? When the people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Well, you can see all around you that the people are losing everything. And the only thing that they can do to satisfy, let's say, these MAGAs, for instance, all right, the only thing that they can do to satisfy them is to satiate their desire, their appetite to see you Jakes, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans suffer. All right. The only way to pacify these maggers is to show them Jake's suffering. You see? But that doesn't last very long. It's not going to last for more than a couple quarters of the year, you know what I'm saying? Because the food prices are still going up. The gas prices are still going up. People's wages are not going up, though. People's wages are remaining same, they're remaining stagnant, or they're simply losing their jobs altogether. You know what I'm saying? So it's only a matter of time. Let me get this in the book of Psalms, chapter 73. Let's just get to the point. Let's go to verse 12. It says, "Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches." All right. Now let's go to the book of Job, Job chapter 20. Let's start at verse 15. It reads, "He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asps, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter." All right? All these lovely things, these lavish things, this amazing lifestyle that they're able to enjoy for themselves, that's going to be gone. You see what I'm saying? Because their own people, these Edomites, the low-level Edomites, man, they're going to come after their own, man. Why? Because the ones at the top, all right, specifically you Amalekites, those who call themselves JOOs, all right, they've sent these ordinary, all right, 6-pack Joe type Edomites out to dry. They left them out to dry, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be, all right, it's going to be a reckoning. Right? It says he shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore. All right. When the time comes, all of these Edomites at the very top, they're gonna lose their wealth. All right, and it's gonna come right back to the Israelites, because the Israelites, we are the ones that's going to rule this world after Esau falls apart, man. After his kingdom goes away. It's not going to be China. It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be North Korea. It's not going to be anybody else. You see what I'm saying? Scriptures tell you plainly what that is. Let's go to 2 Esdras chapter 6. All right. 2 Esdras chapter 6 and verse 9, it says, "For Esau is the end of the world." Who's the one that's ruling the world right now? It's Esau, Edom. It's these Edomites, these so-called Caucasians. All right? These Edomites are the ones that rule the world, and we are at the end of this world, meaning this era. We're at the end of this world. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Who is Jacob? It's the Israelites. The Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, you speckled birds, all right? It's only the sons and daughters of Jacob that's going to take over this world. You see what I'm saying? So let's go back to Job. All right, Job chapter 20 and verse 18, it says, "That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein." All right? You know what I'm saying? When you talk about restitution, or you talk about reparations and all that stuff, man, it's not going to come in the form of a check. You see what I'm saying? True reparations is not going to come in the form of a check. Reparations is going to come when we have them. You see what I'm saying? They are the reparation. All right? They are the ones that's going to be the reparations. When we take them, when we take their wealth, when we take their sons and their daughters. You see what I'm saying? As the scriptures tell you, man. What is that in Isaiah? Isaiah chapter 14. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and 2 real quick. Isaiah 14 and 2. "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, for slave men and slave women. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were." You see what I'm saying? We were your captives. Now you will be ours. Whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. And we're going to rule over those who ruled over us. You see what I'm saying? That's reparations. You see what I'm saying? And that comes when? That comes when the Lord comes back. You see what I'm saying? That comes when the Lord comes back. Continuing back to verse Job. Slack. It's been a long day. It's been a long day, Akim. Job chapter 20 and verse 19. It says, "Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired." All right, "There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him." All right, meaning what? It's going to be those pitchforks. It's going to be them pitchforks, man. But check this out. It says, because he hath forsaken and he hath oppressed and forsaken the poor. All right. When Yahweh Shai was speaking to his disciples, he said, there will always be the poor among you. All right? There's always going to be the poor among you. Let me see if I can go back to what he said.
20% of national wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans share 12 or 13. If the trend continues, the top 1% will share over 30% of national wealth in another 30 years, while the bottom 50% of Americans will share just 6. You see, the problem isn't that we have some inequality. Some inequality is necessary for a high-functioning capitalist democracy.
All right. So he said there's not a, because it's not a problem. He's right. And he's right. It's not a problem with the fact that there are inequalities. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. You see what I'm saying? Because when you think about get money, got to get rich, get money, what are they really looking for? You see what I'm saying? When you see these people talk about money, what are you really working for? All right? You're looking for your basic necessities. That's what you're looking for. You see what I'm saying? You want to be able to live your life without worrying about bills, without worrying about constantly being behind on bills, constantly being unable to pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Can't pay for your groceries. You see what I'm saying? Well, think about that, man. Under righteous rulership, you'll have trees all over the place, man, full of fruits. All right? No one goes hungry because there's food everywhere. You see? We have a policy in our laws, all right, that deals with the gleaning of grapes, where you take a large sum, and you leave clusters left for the poor. There would be plenty left for those without. You see what I'm saying? When you think about the law on jubilees, okay? After a certain amount of years, you know what I'm saying, you forgive debts. So you think about, let's say, for example, student loan debt, right? You take, for example, student loan debt. These people can't pay for this. They can't pay their student loans, man. I've heard stories of people over $1 million in the hole of student loan debt. You see what I'm saying? Hundreds of thousands of dollars in the hole for student loan debt. There's no way for you to pay that. You see? But under righteous rulership, after a certain amount of years, you forgive debts. You see what I'm saying? You forgive debts. Move on. You see? The scriptures teach us against usury. All right? And ill-gotten gains. No monopolies. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're working off of a monopoly the way it's being run now, you got to pay to breathe. You got to pay to drink water. Water is free. Water is free. Go down to a creek somewhere. Go to the side of a mountain and drink from a riverside. Water is free. You see what I'm saying? Collect rainwater. Of course, you can't collect the rainwater today because it's all toxic. But when you don't have chemtrails in the atmosphere, when you don't have all these different chemicals that's spread by Monsanto and all that garbage, all right, come the hell on. You see what I'm saying? So this is not operating under a righteous rulership, man. All right. Let me see. I think I got that earlier. Let me see. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. I think I got that earlier. I just want to read that again. Salakia. All right, so Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2, it reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right, so the inevitable is going to happen. Let's end this off in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. All right, verse 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draws nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there's pitchforks, right? Pitchforks. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. All right, those who are in authority, they're not going to regard them. They're not going to give a damn about what the president has to say anymore. They're not going to give a damn about what the governors have to say, what the senators or the representatives have to say. Nobody, not their mayor, nobody. They're not going to care anymore. All right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right? They're going to take matters into their own hands. All right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. What did he say? He said the inevitable outcome of this trend ends up in a police state. He says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. That's talking about checkpoints. That's talking about martial law. That's talking about military might. You see? You're not allowed into this city. You're denied access into this state. All right? Civil war. Verse 18, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, the inevitable outcome is going to happen. All right, and this is what happens when you take away from these people, when you take away from the poor, from the needy. You know what I'm saying? There's a precept I'm thinking about. Oh, damn. What's that precept? Let me see. Let me see if I got this right. This is Isaiah chapter 32, verse 6. The water Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. It reads, For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. You see? So what will result of that? You see, because everyone can see that this administration and this whole system as a whole, is operated off of what? Hypocrisy. All right? Hypocrisy. Both sides mean you wrong. Not well, they mean you wrong. Both sides, the Democrat side and the Republican side. For those who are truly able to see past the gaslighting, those who's able to see past the illusion, they can see that both sides are playing the same game. And you're the loser. Right? For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. All right, so that's what I wanted to get into, man. Okay, the coming collapse is going to result in the chaos. All right, and all these wealthy men and women. All right, those of them who can see the writing on the wall, they've been getting their stuff together so they can escape this calamity. You see what I'm saying? This is why all these wealthy billionaires are getting their bunkers together and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? Because they know what's coming. But let's see. When Yahushua comes back, man, there's not going to be any more. There's not going to be any more, lavish lifestyle for y'all, man. All right. The super wealthy, the elites, they're going to be the first fruits of slavery. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to cut that there, man. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Oh, damn, it's been 40 minutes already? Jeez. All right. I want to close it there, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Wakar, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and from I've grown in this truth under. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. All right, Shalom.